Hello there, welcome to the 15th video of learning everything we can learn from VisionOS Documentation made by Apple. Here we have the destination video. This is gonna teach us how to leverage 3D video and spatial audio to deliver an immersive experience. This is wonderful because it's sample code, so it kind of works. Let's dig into the overview. Destination Video is a multi-platform video playback app for VisionOS, iOS, and tvOS. People get a familiar media experience navigating the library's content and playing videos they find interesting. The app provides a similar experience on supported platforms, but leverages unique features of Vision OS to create a novel, immersive playback experience. Now, as you can see in this video player, we have up next, and we have some videos, and we have immersive views before we open up the video. So that's very nice. Now, play video in inline player. When you select the video in the library, Destination Video presents a view that displays additional details about the item. The view presents controls to play the video and specifies whether to include it in your up next list in VisionOS. It also displays a video poster along its leading edges. Tap the View Preview button displayed in inline preview of the video to display the video. Here's one of our views. We're going to take a look at this very shortly. And as you can see, the view disappears. The control disappears when you play the video. When you present a AV player view controller, objects interface as a child of another view. Inline controls display, for example, play, skip, and seek. Showing standard playback controls in your app provides a familiar UI that automatically adapts its appearance to fit each platform, and it is recommended choice in most cases. Destination Video uses a simple UI for its inline player view. A single button that toggles state of playback. AV player view controller doesn't provide this control style, but the app uses it to display the video content without controls by setting the value of its show playback controls property to be false. It then overlays the custom playback controller it requires. Now, see this Destination Video inline player view typed for details on how you can implement this. Note, AV Player View Controller only supports displaying 2D content when embedded inline. Now let's take a look at that inline player. We have opened up the immersive space. Now we're on the beach, as you can see, to the left and the right of us. And we can take a look at that inline view with that player preview button. If you click the button, you'll see that we have the preview playing. However, you notice there's a bug where the player never stops showing the play or pause button. Okay, so let's solve that bug and learn a little bit about the inline player view. Now we go to Xcode, click search, type in inline player view. Here you can bring up the inline player view. You can find that under player folder, inline player view. Now, here the problem that we have in particular is the inline control view, the custom inline controllers that overlay on top of the video content. The problem here is, first, if we take a look at the is showing controls, this particular piece of variable, even though it changes, it does nothing to our view. So the first thing you want to do is set the opacity of this particular image, playing or not playing, to the ternary of is showing controller. And if it is showing controller, we set the opacity to 1, otherwise we're going to set it to 0. That way we don't see the image. With that, we should be able to show and display the showing controller. However, there is a problem. The reason being, player.isPlaying does not ever become true. That is because after digging into the code, we find out that the player is playing. If we go to that piece of code, it's going to be false, and the reason why it's false is because of the set option. So let's go find that piece of code. Right. Now, here we set is playing to this particular status equal to playing. What is this status? This status is a time control status. And in the time control status, we have three different enums. What happens here is that if we put a breakpoint here and we take a look at our code, we'll find out that our status is in a particular waiting mode. And this waiting mode causes us to be unable to change the status to be true because it's never playing, it's always loading. Let's take a look at that. Here we have our player view. It is playing our breakpoints. Here it's false. Now, the reason it's false, if we PO our status equals dot playing, it is false. However, if we set it to waiting to play at a specific rate, we can find these enums actually here if we click on status and we click on player model. However, it doesn't seem to want to do that for us. Well, what we can do instead is type in PO status and look at this control status. We copy it and we go to our browser. We then look up this time control status and we have three cases. The next case let's try is it paused indefinitely? Is that the problem? Well, it's definitely not paused. Let's check that. PO status equals dot paused, and it is false. Now the last status is equal to waiting to play at a specific rate. This indicates that the player is waiting for a network condition to improve before it can start and stop playing. So here is the status. It's true. So the problem is that these videos are not actually on device. They are in the internet. So we need to pull these videos. And another thing we can do to make sure that we know that it is like from the internet is check URL sessions. So first of all, let's set the status equal to dot waiting because we're just waiting here. Now, once we change this piece of code, it would start working. But let's take a look at URL first. So as you can see, the URL, we're pulling in these URLs and resolving the URL, putting them into the video. So we are pulling these from the internet. And that's why there's always loading. Now let's run this and we'll find out that now we have fixed the bug. All right, let's turn that off. Let's continue at breakpoint and simulator. Now we go to the beach again. And if we click play, as you can see, it loads and the toggle disappears. If we pause, it comes back. Now we can click again and we wait for a little bit. It should disappear. Perfect. That's what we want. Now we have resolved the bug. With that, I think we've learned a little bit about the inline player, what the video player is about, and we can move on to the next piece of code. Play video in a full Windows player. One of the most exciting features of VisionOS is the ability to play 3D video along with spatial audio, which adds a deeper level of immersion to the viewing experience. Playing 3D content in your app requires that you display AV Player View Controller's full window. When you present the player this way, the system automatically docks it into the ideal viewing position and presents streamlined playback controls that keep the person's focus on the content. In iOS or tvOS, you typically present in a full screen presentation using the full screen cover is presented on dismiss content modifier. This API is available in VisionOS. However, the recommended way to present the player for a full screen window playback is to set it as the root view of your app window. As you can see here in the code, we have set, if we have the VisionOS OS running, we create an immersive space called destination, and we will create a destination view of the environment player. This gives us the full immersion that we want, as described in documentation earlier. Designation Video's content view displays the app library by default. It observes changes to the player's model's presentation property, which indicates whether the app requires inline or full window playback. When the presentation state changes to full window, the view redraws the UI to display the player view in place of the library. Here we have a content view. Here we have a navigation path to the videos. Next, we have is presenting space false, and we have a player. We do a switch statement between for the player presentation. If it's full window, we're going to create a player view on appear and play. Default, we're going to have a library view with the navigation path and is presenting to be, I guess to be false or true. When someone selects play video button on the detail view, this application calls the player model load video presentation, a method requiring the full window presentation option. Here's the button and load window in full window mode. And this is has a label play and has a play.fill image. All right, here we have the library view, and let's see how this library view presents our player view. Now in the library view, we have a player model and video library. Here we have some navigation path for videos, and there is presenting space. Here's a binding, navigation stack. We have our logo. We have some list of videos up next, and we can click into those videos. Let's take a look at the detailed navigation destination per video, and we hit the detail view. Once we hit the detail view, what we have here is that we have video info and we load the video. Once we load the video, what happens here is we are putting this video into the player and we're going to present the player automatically. As you can see, once the player's presentation switches to full window, we'll present a player view and the player will play. After the player model successfully loads the video content for playback, it updates its presentation value to full window, which causes the app to replace the library with player view. To dismiss the full window player in VisionOS, people will tap the back button in the player UI to handle this action. The app's player view controller delegate type defines an AV player view controller delegate object that handles the dismissal. Here we have player view controller, the AV player view controller, and the coordinator did end, and we have player.reset. This does not seem like the dismissal or delegate. When the delegate receives this call, it clears the media from the player model and resets the presentation back to its default state, which results in the destination videos app displaying the library view. Let's check this out in action in the code. I see. Here in the code, we have the player view controller delegate, which has the player model and the function player view controller, where when we do a reset, we dismiss the full window player. Let's check out this next section. Configure the spatial audio experience. Media playback apps require common configurations of their capabilities and audio sessions. In addition to performing the steps outlined in Configure Your App for media playback, Destination Video also adopts new AV audio session API to customize a person's spatial audio experience. After the app successfully loads a video for playback, it configures the spatial audio experience for the current presentation. For the inline player view, it sets the experience to a small, focused soundstage where the sound originates from the location of the view. When displaying a video full window, it sets the experience to a large, fully immersive soundstage. Here we have the function configure audio experience, configures a person's intended spatial audio experience to best fit the presentation. Parameter presentation, the required player presentation that we are looking for. We're switching between inline and full window. And now we also have this AV audio spatial experience that's happening here. The experience for inline is head tracking. We're going to do a small sound stage with a anchoring strategy of automatic. Otherwise, we're going to do head tracking of a large sound stage and automatic tracking. And try the AV audio session, share instance, set intended spatial experience to this particular experience. This code is pretty self-explanatory. Let's check it out in the code to see what is around it. Yes, this piece of code is pretty self-explanatory. This piece of code is loaded in load video function where we configure the audio experience. Once we take a look at audio experience is exactly the same, and we set this particular experience to the intended experience of either small or large sound space. Now onward to presenting an immersive space. Build video playback apps for VisionOS provides a new opportunity to enhance the viewing experience beyond the bounds of the player window. To add a greater level of immersion, the sample presents an immersive space that displays a scene around the person as they watch the video. It defines the immersive space in the destination video app structure. Here we have destination video. We create this destination space, which runs based on the destination that changes and thereby playing the video. The immersive space presents an instance of destination view, which maps a texture to the inside of a sphere that is displayed around a person. The app presents it using the progressive immersion style, which lets someone change their amount of immersion by turning the digital crown on the device. The destination video app automatically presents the immersive space when a person navigates to a video detailed view, then dismiss it when they return to the library. To monitor these events, the app observes its navigation path to determine when a navigation event occurs so it can show or dismiss the space. Here is an on-change event. If navigation path is empty, which returns to the main window, dismiss the space. Otherwise, we're going to open up the space based on the destination that we have chosen. As you can see here we have immersive space with a destination, and we will go to that particular destination once we switch the video. We have our immersion style set to progressive. Here we see the onChange modifier, which changes the navigation path, and therefore we present this particular space with this video destination on this particular change. Otherwise, when we close the space. Okay, provide a shared viewing experience. One of the best ways to enhance your app playback experience is to make the experience shareable with others. You can use the AV Foundation and the Group Activities framework to build share play experiences that bring people together even when they are not in the same location. The Destination Video app creates an experience where people can watch videos with others across devices and platforms. It defines a group activity called a video watching activity that adopts the group activity protocol. When people have a FaceTime call active, they play a video in a full-time player. It is eligible for playback for everyone on the call. The app's video watching coordinator, actor, manages destination video share play feature functionalities. It observes the activation of new video watching activity sessions, and when one starts, it sets the group session instance on the player object AV playback coordinator. Here we have some sample code here with the group sessions and the playback coordinator coordinate with session group session. With the player configured to use group session, when the app loads new videos, they become eligible to share with people in the FaceTime call. So all we have to do is make sure to give our playback coordinator a coordinate with session, this particular group session. Okay, here in the code, we are taking a look at group sessions, the variable, and this is a group session of type video watching activity. This group session is given to our playback coordinator and coordinate with this particular group session when it is set. Now, when is this group session set? Let's take a look. Here we have a activity change. So we set the group session to we do not set the group session here. We clean up sessions, apparently, the group sessions here. So we clean them up. So we throw away the old session and we set this to the new session. The session is created here in the video watching activity.sessions to start observing. The video watching activity is a group activity and it's transferable. This is the video that we're watching. This is the metadata. Here's some preview image and fallback URL for everyone to watch. All right, we did not see the sessions function. Let's go back and see what that does. So we have watching activity. We have this piece of code. We have sessions. And once we get in here, we don't see much code at all. It's just a function that returns an async sequence of group sessions that we're using. And once that's updated, what we do know is that we will thereby update our group sessions. So let's take a look at our group sessions again, paste that in, and that's to sessions. And once it's observed to be set, that's cleaning. And once it's set, playback coordinator coordinates with this particular session that we want to use. And that's how group sessions work according to this documentation. Now, with that, we have completed this portion of the sample code, this documentation, and we will be going into configuring your app for playback, media playback. And let's move through one article at a time. And that's it for the 15th video, and I'll see you in the next one.